Hi guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my August monthly wrap up. Gives me anxiety that I'm filming this in September because I like to have this up before the month ends, but a lot of you guys said it didn't matter, so I'm here to deliver the Oscar-winning performance of the year because this month I read so many underrated and not talked enough about books that people need to read. So we're cozy and comfy today. We're crisscross applesauce up in this bitch, and we're honestly going to jump into it because I have little energy level today and I want to get this video done for you guys. So I use Storygraph, not Goodreads. I get that question a ton. I'll put my little Storygraph here. You can add me. I personally have been using it for all of this year and I love it. I found Goodreads really glitchy and just like not a good interface. It's super slow to load. I didn't vibe with it. Storygraph is amazing. It's a female-owned app. Like, what more can you ask for? It's awesome. I love the interface so much more and it's just so easy to use, so clean and crisp and simple. This is not sponsored. I wish it was. Go try it out. Thank me later. You can also import your Goodreads books so you don't lose any of that. So that's awesome. Go check it out. I'll link it down below. So my little Storygraph August stats for you. I read 18 books, 6,319 pages. 100% of my books were fiction this month. And my average rating was 3.78 stars. So let's jump into it. Okay, and I did not do this in a good order, Carter. All right, starting the month off strong, we finished the Paradise Trilogy by Ellen Hildebrand. If you remember my July book wrap up, I finished the month off with the first book in the trilogy. And let me tell you guys, it kind of goes a little downhill from there. The first book is definitely the superior book. These ones aren't bad. It just goes from like a 5-star to a 4.5 to a 4. I basically just spoiled this whole rating system anyways. Which one is book 2? Okay, book 2, what happens in Paradise? I gave this 4.5 stars. Basically, these books could have been combined into one. I honestly can't even give you a recap because it's all smushed into my brain as one big book. So yeah, pretty sure in this one Irene went back to the US for a little bit to figure things out, and then she decided to go back to St. John for good. The FBI gets involved, and yeah, like honestly everything just feels like it's mushed into like one giant book. So that is book 2 for you. Book 3 is Troubles in Paradise, and this one I gave 4 stars. Basically everyone in this book is in St. John for good, and we're still trying to figure out the tea behind Russ dying. So that we're still figuring that out in this one. This one was my least favorite. Obviously I rated it the lowest. There was a lot of like hard to believe moments in this. Like you just kind of scratch your head and are like, why is this happening? Like this makes no sense. And I kind of found that a lot of characters and plots just dropped off. Kind of like Pretty Little Liars. Like shit was just dropping off and you were left with these plot holes and no closure, and like no one wants no closure in their life. So yeah, I didn't love the ending. A lot of filler content in this one, but like I said, honestly all this is smushed into one book in my brain for me. But yeah, that's that. I don't think there was any memorable quotes either. Okay, then shit went downhill from here. Okay, I was like, you know what, this is the month I'm gonna give the Addicted series a go. Biggest mistake of my life, biggest waste of time of my life. I feel like you either love the series or you hate them, and all the like Calloway sister stans are gonna come for me because I only read certain books. But yeah, so I read Addicted to You, which is the first book in the series. I gave this 2.5 stars. Basically this is about Lily and Lo, who are childhood best friends, have some sexual tension going on. Now they're in college and they're fake dating and living together to keep their rich families happy. Lily has a sex addiction. Lo is an alcoholic. That's not a good combo. I could have told you that. Basically, this book, I feel like the dynamic is refreshing because it's something you don't see a lot. And I want to clarify that I don't hate this book because it's about addiction. I just think the writing is poor and the book sucks. I'm obviously all for getting help. And I really did enjoy that they talked about the negative aspects and struggles of addiction and how dark and how real of an issue it is, but I just didn't like the book as a whole. Yeah, also another big thing for me was there was missing so much chemistry. Like you guys are supposed to be childhood best friends to lovers and there was no chemistry there. Nada. So why did I keep reading the series? I could not tell you, but I did. I read the second book, which was Ricochet. I gave this 2 stars. This takes place right after the first book ends. Lo goes to rehab. Lily is like living her life. You see a lot more of Lily and her family dynamic in this, which is just frustrating as shit and very dysfunctional. I will say that the side characters in this whole series are superior to the main characters. And the writing is super corny and no one talks like this in real life, and it was very frustrating to read. But did I read another book in the series? I absolutely did. I personally thought that the second book could have been smushed into a novella. Like, there was so much filler content. I just didn't love it. Okay, like I said, all you addicted stans are going to come for me because I did not read Thrive. I did not read the rest of the books in the series or the Calloway Sisters spinoff. I just went straight to the last book because I needed to know what happened. Like, I'm that person. I gave the last book 2.5 stars though, to be really, really kind, because it was my favorite. They all came really far. There was some character development, character growth. Do Lily and Lo have any chemistry? Still, absolutely not. Nada. Honestly, once again, a lot of filler content. And I found that they were really reaching in this one. Like, they were really reaching for the most random shit, most random plot lines just to keep it interesting. And it was not interesting. I will say the sisters are hilarious and the side characters are amazing, but the series is just not it for me. So that's that. But then we have our first 5-star read of the month, which is none other than Queen herself, Samantha Whiskey, with Asher. 5 stars. It's on Kindle Unlimited. You guys know the Carolina Reaper series is my jam. And honestly, I knew this would be a 5-star read before I even read it. Like, Samantha Whiskey cannot disappoint me. So basically, this book follows Asher, which we know is the owner of the Carolina Reapers, which she just did a whole series on. It's like sports romance. It's chef's kiss. And this new series, which is the Billionaires game series, will follow all the pro owners because they're all like tight homies. And every book will focus on a different hot, rich owner of some kind of sports team. Basically, this book is about Asher, like I said, and he loses a bet, so he lets a friend of a friend come shadow him. Her name is Daisy. She's an indie published romance author. I freaking love that. I ate that shit up. And she's gonna shadow him because she's writing a billionaire romance, and he's a billionaire and he's hot. So you guys know what's gonna happen in this book. I have to tell you. The sexual tension was on point in this. The character's on point. Daisy, funny as shit. Asher, I don't know what he looks like, but I'm sure he's hot as shit. Honestly, something about Samantha's writing is just so fun over and over again. Like, it never gets old. Also, I feel like these are literally the most unhinged book reviews ever. I'm so sorry. I hope you're enjoying them though. So yeah, 5-star read, amazing. I would say this is like workplace kind of billionaire romance. Not really enemies to lovers, but not really friends. So strangers to lovers, basically. So yeah, I loved it. Highly recommend any of her books. Honestly, they're amazing. I will say that this is a standalone, so if you're not into sports romance and you just want to read this, you'll understand. However, you see a lot of the characters from the previous books, so if you've read the books, it makes it more fun. And you guys, I read my first Emily Giffin book, and this month, the theme of this book was sad as fuck romance books. Books that made me cry. You guys know I'm heartless when it comes to reading books, so that's saying a lot. But I read Love the One You're With by Emily Giffin, 5 stars. Like, this was all over my TikTok because I was just so obsessed with talking about this book. I just don't even have words. It's so amazing. Even though I only tabbed it 5 times. But basically, this is about Ellen and Andy. They recently got married, and then one afternoon in New York City, Ellen is like doing her little hot girl walk, and she runs into Leo, which is her ex-boyfriend who broke her heart. Obviously, like that one ex we all have that just broke us to pieces. We never thought we'd find love again. Basically, she begins to question her path, and she's like, am I happily married? Should I be with Leo? I don't really know. And I will say that the reviews on Goodreads are really mixed about this, because you either love or you hate this kind of book. You either are like, this girl is so annoying, just stay married and like shove the ex-boyfriend like out of your life, or you love it because I feel like at some point we have all wondered what if, even not in a romantic sense, just like as what if we had taken the job, what if we quit the job, what if we went to school somewhere else. We all have that what if, like, fork in the road path in our life that we wonder what we had done. We wonder what we would have done if we'd taken the other path. Like, it happens. It doesn't have to be in a romantic sense. You guys know I'm not for cheating, so this book must be stellar if I still gave it 5 stars, if you know what I mean. And I just think it's all about that first love that you have so much passion with and you never get that closure from. And it was just, I loved it, but I love these kinds of books. What I liked from this was, maybe that's what it all comes down to. Love is not a surge of passion, but as a choice to commit to something, someone, no matter what obstacles or temptations stand in the way. And making that choice again and again, day in and day out, year after year, says more about love than never having a chance to make it at all. And I find that so true. So, loved this. Then I read Flawless by Elsie Silver. I gave this 4 stars. This is on Kindle Unlimited. And this was a good one. This was a cutesy, quick little read. Like, I needed to read that after the Addicted series, like to flush my brain of all of that toxic energy. This book reminded me of The Longest Ride. It just, those are the, you ever read a book and you picture characters in your head? Like, those are the characters that I pictured in my head for Rhett and Summer. This follows Summer, who is, I believe she just got a new job at her dad's firm, like a PR firm, and Rhett is a professional bull rider, and Rhett is a bad boy, okay? He gets into shit. He basically had like a milk sponsor and then was like, I don't even like milk. Like, he is just unhinged, okay? He's not doing good in the PR world. His sponsors are dropping him. Like, he's not doing so good. He's having a crisis. And basically, he needs a babysitter. So Summer's dad is like, hey, you know, perfect. You can go babysit this bull rider because, you know, you just got your first big girl job. And so this is like, basically, I would say enemies to lovers, workplace, forced proximity, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, Summer goes to Alberta, which I love, a Canadian little country romance, like Heartland vibes. Basically goes to stay at Rhett's like family country farm. Why did I say country farm? Like, obviously the farm is in the country corridor, but you know, the farm, and she babysits him, goes to events with him, bull riding, rodeos, like all that stuff. I did find myself getting bored like in the middle, so that's why I didn't give it 5 stars, but I think it's a 5-star read. I just kind of had like a snooze fest. Like, it took me like 2 weeks to finish the book, and that's just because the middle was so boring. This is definitely like super slow burn. I hate everyone but you vibe, which in a countryman, the best book ever. This man had a dirty, dirty mouth, okay? Dirty, dirty boy. I also loved that Summer was like super outspoken and bold. Like, I love an independent queen. And overall, this was a really cute read. Loved it. Okay, then I read Fling by Adriana Locke, and I gave this 4 stars, and this is also on Kindle Unlimited. And this one was a fun read. I find with Kindle Unlimited, or even just romance in general, it can get repetitive, so I love like unique plots, and this one delivered. This is about Ashley. Ashley just called off her wedding to this jackass, and her honeymoon is like non-refundable, and it's like this tropical luxury, I don't know, all-inclusive vacation. So she's like, I'm still gonna go. And her friends are like, let's have a fun contest. You need some good D in your life. We're gonna have a contest, put it on social media, and we're gonna pick someone to go on the honeymoon with you, and then you can just, you know, it'll be like a bang fest, and you'll just have fun and get over your lame like ex-fiance. She also, keep in mind, has a hot best friend. His name is Maddox, who joins her on the trip. This is best friends to lovers, forced proximity, one bed vibes. So you can already figure out who they picked to go on the trip. This is my first book of hers, and I loved it. I will for sure be reading other books of hers. Super steamy. I loved that it was, once again, a common trope, but unique plot, unique twist to it. I had so much fun reading this book, and it was overall just a good time. Highly recommend. It's time, you guys. Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. This book fucking crushed my soul. Oh my goodness. This is about Magnolia and BJ. They're best friends, very on again, off again. It is, I said this on my Bookstagram when I post my review, it's very toxic love. So if that's not your vibe, you will not enjoy this. And I definitely can see why people don't like this. But it's just, we've all had that toxic on again, off again relationship, or most of us have, I guess. And it's just so relatable. The quotes are so beautiful. She has such a beautiful way with words. And yeah, it's also kind of like Gossip Girl, but in London's high society. So I just think the cover is also so beautiful. So yeah, I don't want to give anything away. Please go read this. 5 million stars. 5 million stars. All you people are going to hate me. Please, please don't come for me, okay? I will read it, but I did not read the second book. I downloaded it on my Kindle, and I'll get to it. Because book 1 and 3 follow the same couple, and book 1 ends on a cliffhanger. So you can bet your ass I'm not reading the second book. I'm going right to the third one because I need to know what happens with the same couple. A lot of people say that there are things in the second book, which the second book is called Daisy Hates, by the way, and it's about Daisy. People say there's things in the second book that are important to the third book, but I was able to like understand pretty much everything. So yeah, don't come for me. I will read it at some point. I'm unhinged, okay? I was unhinged this month. With that being said, the third book in the series, Magnolia Parks, The Long Way Home, again, infinity stars. This takes place 1 year after the end of the first book, and basically Magnolia is living in New York, BJ is still in London, and then they both end up back in London for a wedding. So beautiful. Jessa Hastings ripped my heart out, stomped on it, and then tried to give it back to me. I also feel like this was one of the first books that I really thought that the characters were telling the story and it wasn't the author writing about them, if that makes sense. Like that, you know, the writing is amazing. It didn't seem like an author writing it. It seemed like I was actually listening to Magnolia and BJ talk, which was just so good. The character growth in this was absolutely stellar. I have nothing but amazing things to say, but like I said, if you don't want to read about toxic on again off again love, you won't like this. But if you can like relate to it in some way, I'm sure you will really love it. But I can see why people hate it. I can see why people love it. I am a lover. I am a Jessa Hastings stan now, and I will read Daisy Hates in September. I can promise you that. Okay. Then, once again, I wanted to crush my soul this month. So I read The Light We Lost by Jill Santopolo. If you liked Love the One You're With, you will love this, or like vice versa. If you've read one, you'll like the other. It's kind of the same vibe. This is a 4.5-star read for me. This is about Lucy. And Lucy meets Gabe in university, and they develop this super passionate, once-in-a-lifetime kind of love. He gets a job opportunity, he breaks up with Lucy, he moves away, and then she's still thinking about him when she's married with her kids. You know, she can't get him off her mind. It's a really beautiful, sweet book. The only reason it's not 5 stars is that I wish we got more of their relationship at the beginning. I felt like I couldn't connect with them very well because we didn't see a lot of their relationship at the beginning. Like, you saw like a 2-week period, and I'm like, sis, how did you fall that fast, that hard? Like, I don't understand why you're still thinking about him when you're married if you knew him for 2 weeks. But if you're a believer in fate or like love, you have to pick this book up. Once again, the way the author wrote this, it was similar to Jessa Hastings for me in the sense that like I really felt like the characters were telling the story and not the author. I also love short chapters, so this was a win, and it kind of just felt like every chapter was like reminiscing on something. I just really loved the way it was written. This is a prime example of like just trusting your gut, going with your heart. It's just like one giant love letter, and I just loved this book so much. And yeah, the quote I liked from this was, "A woman filled with light makes everything she touches brighter," which is so sweet. And yeah, the only reason it's not 5 stars, like I said, I would have liked more of their relationship at the beginning. Then I read the Evolution of Sin trilogy by Gianna Darling. I'm gonna mash this up into one review because there's just not even that much to talk about. I gave the whole series 2 stars. Easy peasy. This is basically a whole trilogy around cheating, which you guys know I don't like. Why did I keep reading it? I don't know, but I had to know what happened. This is about Giselle. She meets this like broody, grumpy guy. His name is Sinclair, on a plane ride to Mexico. I don't understand all these books. They're falling in love on planes. Like, I don't talk to anyone on the plane. Headphones in. Don't talk to me. Don't even try and talk to me. Basically, he realizes they're going to the same resort, and he's like, yo, do you want to have an affair with me? I'm in a relationship, but I'm trying to fuck. And she's like, I'm not sure. I'm a little innocent girl. And he's like, I'm a bad boy. And she's like, yeah, sure, let's have an affair. Very spicy, I will say. I just, once again, I have a lot of mixed feelings. If they were not having an affair and it was just like him being like, yo, let's have a little vacation hookup, I probably would have given this book like 3.5 to 4 stars. Like, it was actually pretty good. The writing was good, but the cheating just does me in. And it just, yeah. So basically, then some shit goes down in the second book that you're gonna be like, oh, no freaking way. And I don't know, it got confusing. They moved from Italy to the US. Once again, I hate the cheating, but I need to know how the book ended. And I just also hate how some of the characters were portrayed. Like, they were cold, they were bitchy. That's why people cheat. It just annoyed me. But anyways, the whole series was 2 stars. Could have been more if there was no cheating in it. Like, this could have been a good series. It didn't need the cheating in it. How many times did I say cheating in the last 2 minutes? I don't even know. But yeah, that's a sum up of the trilogy. If you're really bored, you can read it. It's pretty spicy. Then I read The Last Post by Renee Carlino, which she is a hit or miss author for me, and this book was 2.5 stars. Very disappointing. This is about Layla. Layla is an orthopedic surgeon fellow. She's married to Cameron, who's a professional daredevil. Basically, he dies in a stunt accident, and she is widowed before 30, so she decides to go home to New York City where her family is. And then she's visiting her dad at his little architecture firm one day, and she meets Micah, who works for her dad. And from the second he sees her, he's like super drawn to her and like into her. And basically, this book is supposed to be about grieving and finding a second chance at love. It's actually about a stalker. I'm giving you guys a heads up because this could have been like a Pack Up the Moon situation, which you guys know I loved that book. But no, it was weird. I didn't know where it was going. And I did not empathize with Leia. I did not empathize with Leia. Oh, Guys, her name is Leia. It's not Layla. The whole time I read this book, I thought her name was Layla. It's Leia. I'm so sorry. Once again, like, Renee Carlino's writing is amazing. The plot was just super freaking weird. The romance was cringy. There was like no substance. And I was just like creeped out because Micah was just creepy to me and like a stalker. He would literally like read her post about her dead husband and then like reenact the date and bring it to her. It was so creepy and weird. And it just didn't seem believable. So I would just not recommend this book personally. This one, you guys. First of all, this book gives me a little triggering because I started reading this the night that I fainted. So we have a little close connection. We bonded over some trauma. The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. I love this book so much. This is a 5-star read. Amazing. This is about Florence Day. She's a ghostwriter for a romance author. Her family also owns a funeral home like back in like, where is it? Her small town. Anyways, she meets her new editor. He's a really hot man. Then she gets a call that her dad died of a heart attack, so she goes back to her small town where her family owns the funeral home. Kind of gives like modern day Addams Family vibe. I loved it. If you love like, I wouldn't even say creepy, it's not creepy, but just like ghosty, cracking jokes about like Addams Family kind of vibes, you will love this. Then she finds a ghost on the parlor front door and then she falls in love with a ghost. And the plot twist at the end had me shook. I love this book so much. I'm not going to ruin anything else, but this is literally all in the back, by the way. Yeah, it was just so freaking cute. Just freaking stinking cute. If you like Halloween, fall vibes, funeral home, ghosty vibes, you will love this. Kind of reminded me of that movie with Reese Witherspoon where she falls in love with a ghost. What's that movie called? I'm literally gonna look it up. Just Like Heaven, that movie. Reminded me of that. Stinking cute. I love this. I will read anything else by this author. Okay, we're getting down to the last books. The White Stalker by Liv Constantine. My friend Kim recommended this to me. This was so good. This was great. 4.5 stars. This follows Joanna and Piper, and this is where it gets confusing to explain. You should just go into a blind, kind of like The Last Mrs. Parrish. Joanna is married to Leo and they have 2 kids. Piper is the new hot blonde in town. You know how it is. Piper wants Joanna's husband. He was also a little depressed for the last few months, so he's finally getting back into the swing of things and work, and he basically falls in love with Piper and leaves his wife for the hot new blonde woman in town. And basically it just says Joanna is devastated and determined to find anything to use against this woman who stole her life and her love. As she digs deeper into Piper's past, Joanna begins to unearth disturbing secrets. But can she find the proof she needs in time to save her family? So much better than The Last Mrs. Parrish in my opinion. Kind of similar vibes, but I loved this so much more. The reason I didn't give it 5 stars is because in the middle I was doing a lot of skimming. Like I was like, this, it's getting boring. I'm just gonna do a little skim action. Otherwise it's a 5-star read. Like no one talks about this book. It was stellar. Very typical like steal your wife thriller vibes. I did not see the ending at all. I was absolutely shook, and that's how I rate a good thriller, is when I don't see the ending coming. If I can guess it, which it's kind of subjective because everyone can guess things differently, that is how I know it was a good thriller. I love short to the point chapters. You guys know that's my jam, so I love this book so much. Last book I read, I've been putting off for a while because I just didn't know how I'd feel about it. 1,000 Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole. I feel like you either love this book or you hate it, and I was among the people that hated it. I swear you guys, this is the most unhinged book month ever. Basically, this is about Rune and Poppy, and they've been childhood best friends for forever, and then when they turn 15, you know, they become little lovers, and then Rune has to go back to Norway. His family's moving there, and then basically him and Poppy keep in touch. They're all like, love you, we'll be together forever. One day Poppy cuts him off out of legit nowhere. Stella's joining us for the last book. That's so sweet. She's obsessed with my new ghost stuffy that I bought today. Stay a while, sit down, come enjoy me talk about this book that literally was so disappointing that I read last night. Anyways, yeah, I know. So basically 2 years later, they're 17, I think. Rune comes back from Norway, moves back to wherever in the States that they live, and he's like, yo Poppy, why'd you stop talking to me? And then you figure it all out, and they're trying to reconnect and all this stuff. But I forgot the really cute thing that happens in this book is at the beginning of the book, Poppy's grandma is dying, and she hands her like this mason jar, and she's like, dude, what is this? And the grandma goes, you need to collect 1,000 boy kisses. So every time she gets a kiss, she has to put like who it was and the reason on a cute little pink note and put it in the mason jar and then fill it up with 1,000 kisses. Like that's her goal in this life, which kind of sweet. Only cute moment in this book. I feel like you would either love this book or hate it. It's very YA, which is why I didn't like it. It's very plain writing. There's like no, it's not deep. It's just very superficial writing, which I find a lot of YA is like that. Spoil the book, so if you're never gonna read it, like you can listen to this, but if you are gonna read this book, skip ahead like 30 seconds, 10 seconds. It was like every other terminal illness, romance, movie, book, TV show out there. Like it was the same thing. Okay, it's safe to come back now from the spoiler. Rune was just too angry for me. It was really annoying. So angry all the time. She was way too happy given everything going on in her life. Like, I get that you're trying to be a positive galley, but like, it was too positive for me. And the epilogue had me tear up a tiny bit, which is very hard for me to do. The epilogue was cute as shit. I kind of didn't see that coming at all. And yeah, I didn't like the plot twist coming early on, but I get why they did it. And overall, it just wasn't for me. So yeah, but I could see why people love it. It was too dry for me. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you like them like more unhinged like this. Like I feel like I was just like, I was unhinged. That's the perfect word. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know down below what your favorite read of the month was. I would love to know, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye!